Hi, it's Keith from the Evangelical Free Church, Stony Stratford, and we're continuing our series of short talks in the Gospel of Luke. And today we come to Luke chapter 23, verses 13 to 25. Jesus is back in front of Pilate after Pilate has sent him to Herod. And Pilate has drawn a conclusion. In verse 13 to 16, we read this: Pilate called together the chief priests and the rulers of the people, and said to them, "You brought me this man as one who was inciting the people to rebellion. I have examined him in your presence and have found no basis for your charges against him. Neither has Herod, for he has sent him back to us. As you can see, he has done nothing to deserve death. Therefore, I will punish him and then release him." Basically, Pilate smells trouble and he wants Jesus out the way. We often talk of a foregone conclusion. It may be a sense where we're watching a court case and we sort of adding up the evidence. Maybe we're watching a film. It's always great to watch films where there's court cases. And you kind of get to the point and think, it's a foregone conclusion. They've got to find that guy guilty or innocent or whatever. Well, here is very much the example of a foregone conclusion. You see, Jesus is the problem for Pilate that won't go away. Pilate's problem is, for all his eloquence, for all his reputation as a hard man, the crowd won't have it. Verses 18 to 19, we read this: With one voice, they cried out, "Away with this man, release Barabbas to us." Barabbas had been thrown into prison for insurrection in the city and for murder. We know from Matthew's Gospel that it was Pilate's custom at Passover to release a prisoner. And he presents Jesus and Barabbas to them. And they shout out for a man who is a murderer, an insurrectionist. We may think, well, the Jews would have wanted to be free of the Romans, but a lot of the Jews just wanted a peaceable life. The last thing you wanted was a man out on the streets who could cause trouble for you. Pilate makes two more appeals, but the crowd won't have it. And eventually Pilate folds. Pilate was only in Jerusalem for the Passover to really just keep law and order. And he can see that things are going the wrong way. He's there to prevent a riot, not cause one. He had mishandled the Jews before when it came to religious matters. And actually there'd been a complaint to Rome. The last thing he wanted was things kicking off over some itinerant preacher. He realizes that he's between the rock and a hard place. Wanting to release Jesus, verse 20, Pilate appealed to them again, but they kept shouting, "Crucify him, crucify him." For a third time he spoke to them. "Why, what crime has this man committed? I have found no grounds for the death penalty. Therefore, I will punish him and then release him." But with loud shouts, they insistently demanded that he be crucified, and their shouts prevailed. So Pilate decided to grant their demand. Pilate is someone who's just looking perhaps for a quiet life, and being a governor in Israel wasn't it. He just wanted to get back to his place, his offices at Caesarea Philippi, away from these troublesome Jews. What's the outcome? Well, the outcome is quite a simple one, isn't it? It's an insurrectionist, a terrorist as it were, and a murderer goes free. But an innocent man takes his punishment. Can you imagine? We don't know much about Barabbas, but there must have been a tremendous sense of relief. There he was in a dark cell, no comforts whatsoever. probably just the rats to keep him company and stuff like that. And then he gets this amazing reprieve. When he thought his time was up, he is let go free. It's kind of a tiny picture of what Jesus has done for us. In the second letter to the Corinthian church, the Apostle Paul writes this: God made him, that's Jesus, who had no sin, to be sin for us, so that we might become the righteousness of God. In other words, in something that the theologians call the covenant of redemption, Jesus volunteered and said, I will take the punishment. I will take, what is deserved judgment so that others can go free. As it says in the Gospel of John, for God so loved the world that he gave his only Son, that whoever believes in him might have eternal life. That's a promise that extends to us today. The gospel is quite simply that. It's the most important news we'll ever have. And it's good news. And it's an opportunity to be reconciled to God. But because God is just and holy, a price had to be paid. Jesus has paid that price for me and for you. We love giving away freebies here, and so we've got this little booklet, Ultimate Questions. Maybe you've got some questions. Do feel free to pick one up from the railings outside the church, or you'll probably see us around on the street at some time. We'll be giving these away. So just come up, say hello. We won't bother you anymore if you just want to take one. Thank you for listening.